since 2008 have been saying this is not a substitute for fiat money, never can be, and never should be. But at least there are uses to it, and there are potential uses that can come out of the blockchain distributed ledger technology that have nothing to do with cash.
Welcome back to New Year, New You, brought to you by Synchrony Bank Savings. Well, that we just heard from was Yanis Varoufakis, an economist who's been outspoken on the crypto sphere. He was discussing the difference between tokens and the blockchains themselves. And as we start 2023, it's very much new year, same Bitcoin. It's still on the hunt for catalysts to make a meaningful push higher amid noisy calls around its valuation. Cathie Wood remains the standout, calling for $1 million by 2023. Venture capitalist Tim Draper sees $250,000 by the end of the year. And Mark Mobius settling in on $10,000 value by this year. Our next guest says crypto is not recession-proof, but knowledge of crypto is. We're joined by Tyrone Ross, 401 financial principal and founder. Tyrone, so I think a lot of people would agree with you that knowledge is very key after the kind of year we had in 2022. What are you thinking as you go into this year in terms of how investors should be putting money towards the space?
I think it's simple. I think we've learned last year that those that considered themselves investors weren't that. They were traders, they were speculators. So any great investor in any asset class does a lot of research, does a lot of work, asks a lot of questions. And I think that's what we need to step back here and do. And I think the way to do that is exactly through forums like this. Get folks to understand it's about education first. Understanding what the asset is, what it does, your time horizon, what the goal is, and not a second before that should you put $1 into any platform or any crypto asset.
So Tyrone, though, when you hear about some of the valuations, when you hear a Cathie Wood talking about $1 million, other investors talking about $10,000 for Bitcoin, as a retail investor, then what are you supposed to make of this? How do you determine how you should really chart your course from here?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't make price predictions. God bless those folks to do it. I love Cathie Wood, but as much as I am a crypto hippie, I don't make price predictions. What I think the everyday investor should look at is this. There's a difference between the Bitcoin blockchain as in the video that you were just showing and the actual token. The utility is in the Bitcoin blockchain running every day, every 10 minutes, a block is mined. That provides financial infrastructure for folks that has never had it. That is the most important piece here. Similar to like the internet. I can do things on the internet, can't really value it, but the companies and things are built on top of that. If you are a retail investor and say, you know what, the fact that this is reaching so many people and it is a technology that I want to understand and I want to own a small piece of that to kind of be a part of the growth, only then you should look at putting money in, not because someone said that the price is going to 250,000. That has always been a sucker's game.
Yeah, get rich quick, certainly not a big strategy. And you have been very clear that because you believe in the utility of the blockchain, you think that the long-term investment is still a lot of upside there. How much for those who are trying to dip their toes into the space? Are we talking 1%? Are we talking 2%? I mean, what's your advice?
Great question. So I get this a lot. It's hard to say 1%, 2%. I'm probably 100+% just because of who I am and I know it and I live it every day. So it's hard to say that without knowing someone's age, knowing what their savings are, knowing what their time horizon and goals are. It's hard for anyone to come up here and say that. And anyone that you do interview to say that, you should cut them off immediately. But here's what I think folks should do. You have any interest in any crypto asset whatsoever. Here's what you should do. Go on Google, look at the local 3-star, 5-star restaurant and what it costs for 2 people to eat there, drinks, breadsticks and everything included, like you go in the Olive Garden, and put that much into a crypto of your choice and let it sit there like a pet rock for a year and just watch it and see what happens. And then learn from that experience of opening the account, read the terms of service, by the way, the hitting buy on that, and knowing that if you wake up tomorrow and that money is gone, you will still be able to live your life. You tried to play, it didn't work out for you, and you can move on.
So as people are determining whether or not to invest in crypto, I know that you don't advocate it for retirement plans, but as people are trying to figure out perhaps blockchain companies that they could invest in, what criteria do you use and which companies are you eyeing at the moment?
So as far as actual public companies, I think obviously the one that everyone throws around is Coinbase. Coinbase was eviscerated last year in terms of the stock price, but I do think Coinbase has a sustainable business there that I think folks would be able to look at and say, all right, here's a company that has been around. They are public. They have to, provide particular registrations and filings every year. So you can feel comfortable with that. There are some other companies that are kind of teetering on the outside of dealing with the technology. You have Cash App, which is part of Block. You have Facebook as well. But again, you've seen the stock prices of all these companies come in. So I think whether you want to invest in companies that are dealing in crypto or the actual crypto themselves, a lot of caution, high risk tolerance, lots of liquidity, and being able to say, all right, this is what I'm buying. I'm going to buy Coinbase at $40. No matter what happens when it hits $80, I'm out. You have to have that agreement with yourself with any asset class, because if not, then you'll continue to be like the wind. You'll go whichever direction is going, but you should be standard and set in your financial plan what your goals are every day, every year, and only make movements based on that knowledge.